Don't waste your ores before watching this video. I'm going to show you guys which equipment is now best after the update and let you guys know what you should be spending your ores on. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be analyzing every hero equipment. There have been nerfs, there have been buffs, it's crazy. Everything's a little bit different now. There's new combinations that are insane. I'm going to talk about all of them. The way that I'm going to rank them on this scale is I'm going to rank them individually. But as I put them up on this tier list, I will talk about each potential if it's paired with another combination. So I will be kind of analyzing things a little bit differently. I almost need to do like two tier lists. One just with these individually, and then two with them kind of paired with something else. And I'll kind of explain what I mean by that. So let's go ahead and get into it. By the way, if you go to like the tiermaker.com website and you start like looking, it like tells you what the popular tier lists are as of late. And the most popular one was anime waifu tier list. So I'm disappointed in you guys. Why? Why is that the most popular tier list? Anyway, let's start off. We're just going to work our way left to right, kind of like we're reading, and we get the archer puppet first. Now, the archer puppet was buffed, right? The archers spawn, and they're invisible now, and there's more of them. And I think some of the statistics were changed a little bit, and they were buffed. And because of that, we are going to actually put the archer puppet straight to the D tier because it's absolute garbage. It still sucks. You can't really do anything with it still. Guess what? Invisible archers do just as much damage as regular archers, which is basically zero. So it's really not that good. It still sucks. I have friendly challenged and done a ton of Legends League hits with a whole bunch of different armies, and I'm telling you, the archer puppet's not very good. Don't waste your ores in this. If you don't have it already. Okay, healer puppet. Now, the healer puppet is actually becoming more popular with a whole bunch of different armies, and it's pretty strong. I wish the healers were max level, but it might be like broken if it were that. I think the healer puppet's actually like A tier. Like, it's so good and it pairs so well with different abilities. Individually, I'd say it's like an A. If you pair it with like the giant arrow or the magic mirror at the start of the things, it can be like an S depending on the army that you're using. But we're doing it individually, right? So we're going to rate it as an A. Healer puppet's really good. Invis Vial. Oh, man. This is actually kind of tricky. I'm like between B or A. I still think I want to put it in A. It's such a good lifesaver. The problem is like you don't really get any health from it, right? You go invisible for a while and you do just a ton of damage, but you don't really get any health. You don't get any hit points when you use the ability. So it's still, her survivability is still not great, but it is a good lifesaver. It's like a get out of jail free card if she's in trouble. Now, the giant arrow is also becoming really popular. And this is actually, my opinion on the giant arrow is the better you are at the game, the higher up on this tier list it's going to be, right? The potential for this equipment is really high. If you know how to use it well, sniping certain defenses or using it paired with like earthquakes or zaps in order to get certain defenses is really good. Because of that, I'm also going to pair these with like the skill level compared to the amount that you get out of them, right? If that makes sense. And because of that, I'm going to put this in the A tier. It is so good if you can use it right. And it's not super hard to use, but it can be a little tricky if buildings aren't lined up exactly. Okay, we are on to some of the king equipment. By the way, I added all the epic stuff at the end, so it's not going to be like chronologically with heroes. That doesn't make sense, but yeah, you know what I mean. So we're on to the king stuff. Barbarian puppet. These actually, so the rage lasts twice as long. You get way more barbarians. I think like 200 or something if you use the whole ability. And you got some statistical changes, for like static changes from this for like the passive abilities. And so this one's garbage too. This one sucks. I like when I use the original hero equipment, I can only 3-star like a normal mode base, like probably a third or maybe half the time. Like it's so hard to use these equipments. They're just not very good still. Okay. Earthquake boots. This is one where I think a lot of people are wondering about this specific equipment right here. And I'm telling you guys, I've used it quite a bit with different armies, Super Witches mostly, but I've used it with Hogs, I've used it with Mass Druid, I've used it even with like Queen Charge Lalo or Sui Lalo, Zap Lalo type stuff. And the value you can get with the King is nuts. By itself, I would put it in A tier. But if you pair it with the Spiky Ball, absolutely S tier without a doubt. It's so good. It's like destroying an overgrowth sized area by pushing a button. It is so good if you have those two things paired together. Now the Rage, I think I'm going to put Rage at B. It's good. It makes him faster. His survivability is not very good with the Rage Vial. And the speed is good, but that's not really what you need. The meta is a little bit different right now. So that I don't really like. I don't want to put it up higher than that. I think that's about where it goes. And then the Vamp Stash, I'm going to put that in B as well. I think the Vamp Stash has its place with niche armies, but again, it's not like great, but it's not bad either, right? Like in certain situations, it can be absolutely broken, but that's very few and far in between. So we're not going to rank it like that. Okay, Eternal Tome. Man, this is going to seem kind of controversial, but I'm not putting the Eternal Tome in A tier or an S tier. It's definitely an A tier now. It doesn't last as long. It's only 8.5 seconds or 8 seconds now. It's also not like the most used warden ability anymore, probably. Well, it still might be because not everybody has the Fireball, but I don't think that it's the best warden ability or equipment. It is still very good, though. Let's go ahead. Life Gem. Okay, so I've tried the Life Gem out a little bit too, and this is maybe going to be controversial too. I know there's a lot of people that are like, it's so good with Super Hogs or with Hybrid or with Lalo now. I still think it's B tier. I still think that I get more value. I get more health from the Healing Tome than I get from the boost of health from the Life Gem. So I still think that this is not amazing. It's definitely better than it was before, right? Honestly, even now that I'm saying that, I'm putting it in C tier. I really just don't think it's that good. I wouldn't emphasize putting your ores into this equipment right now, especially. Healing Tome, I still think it's A tier. It's not S anymore. I think I would have put it in S before the nerf, but it's still really good. It still can, it keeps up with Inferno Towers, multi-Infernos. So like for Lalo or Hybrid or something, so if you have multi-Infernos, it will keep up and it won't they won't get damaged, but they won't get healed through it. So it's still pretty good. Rage Gem, okay, by itself. So with the meta right now, there's a lot of Druid attacks. There's a lot of speed attacks like in the professional competitive scene. There's a lot of healer warden walk type things. I really think I'm going to put the Rage Gem in S tier. It is so strong at the moment, and it might be the most used warden equipment, I think. It really is so good, especially paired with druids and stuff. But man, the amount of damage, obviously everything in it's going to do more damage too, right? So I really think that that's going to be an S. Okay, and this is the one where you just get life from the Royal Champion. I can't even remember if this one was buffed or not. It's going in D tier. It's garbage still. Not very good. Don't waste ores into that equipment either. By the way, this ranking's all from a competitive high-level standpoint. So not for farming, not for anything like that. So keep that in mind. Seeking Shield. It's not been buffed or nerfed, and it's good. It's not bad. I'm going to put it in C tier. It's only really good right now if it's paired with the Rocket Spear. And because of that, I'm not going to put it higher than that because I want to rank them individually. All right, let's see. Rocket Spear. I think Rocket Spear is B tier now. And this is why I say that. I think it is really good now. I think if you pair the Rocket Shield or the Rocket Spear and the Seeking Shield, they're probably in about A tier, but I'm ranking them individually. And the Rocket Spear by itself with any other equipment is really a little bit underwhelming, right? And it really is only good if you get it to at least level 24 when you have 8 or 9 shots or something at least. Other than that, it really, and it doesn't work with every army too. I think some armies you still definitely want the Hog and Haste. Frozen Arrow. Man, I'll be honest. I know a lot of people love the Frozen Arrow. I just am not super impressed. The only time I can ever really see this being the best equipment for the Queen is on Queen charges. Basically every other attack, there's other equipment that's better. And even with the Magic Mirror coming out, I think even that's maybe debatable now because the Magic Mirror is so good. We're going to put this in B tier. I just don't think the Frozen Arrow is that good. Okay, let's keep going. Spiky Ball. So Spiky Ball was nerfed a little bit. It has one less target that it hits now. Oh, man. I think this one's hard. In between A or B. I think I'm going to put it in B tier. Maybe A. I don't know. I'm going to put it in tier, right in between. Stay right there. Okay. Well, the tier list decided for me. I put it right exactly in the middle, and it put it in B tier. So Spiky Ball B tier. By itself, not super amazing, but paired with other equipments like the Earthquake Boots, it's at S tier, right? So freaking good. Yeah, that's where I put that. Giant Gauntlet, I'm going to put that in A tier still. It's still so good. I mean, it's with the Earthquake Boots and the Spiky Ball combination being so good, I think that's going to replace the Gauntlet for some things, but the Gauntlet by itself, absolutely A tier. It's so freaking good. Honestly, man, I almost want to put it in S tier still. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to put I think it's still S tier. It's still so good, even with the nerfs. Okay, Magic Mirror. These are some of the newer equipments, right? So this is one that we haven't tested out a whole ton, but I think Magic Mirror is S tier. I think it's so strong. You get a whole lot of health for your queen, so the survivability factor's there, the get out of jail free factor's there. You get 3 freaking queens that do the damage of like a normal unequipped queen or whatever. Like, so you can take out town halls, like it's insane how quickly they can take things out. The Magic Mirror is so good at funneling, which is so important for most of the attacks. It is so good at like the Sui type attacks because the amount of damage that you can do in a short amount of time is crazy. It also, and obviously I'm rating this individually. I think individually it's still S tier, but you like paired, it's like S tier if you can give it with like a couple of druids, or if you pair that Magic Mirror with the healer puppet, it's like just honestly insane how much you can get done with it. Haste File. Okay, this one was nerfed, and man, I don't really know. I still think it's A tier. Yeah, I don't think it's bad enough to be B tier, but the Haste File is definitely A, because it is really good still. The speed you get, the attack bonus you get, the DPS, and honestly, even just the passive like attack speed percentage increase, right? Like you get more attack speed just using it. It's still really good. Haste File is still very good. It's still definitely an equipment that you're going to want to invest into if you don't have it already. Okay, Fireball. I mean, easiest S tier of my life. I think the Fireball right now is the best equipment in the game. I think it counters the bases so well. Double invis bases are so common, and this just absolutely wrecks those. The stacked cores are very common. It wrecks those. It sets fantastic funnels. It works with almost any army. It's really honestly insane how good the Fireball is. I was fully expecting when they announced some of the, or when I heard about some of the nerfs for the hero equipment, I was fully expecting the Fireball to be on that list. I didn't know if it was going to be the range or the damage or the way the AI works, if it was just going to hit any building instead of defenses. I didn't know what they were going to do, but Fireball is really good. I think it's the best equipment in the game, and it really, you could argue that it's a little bit harder to use and that it's high risk, high reward, but for the value that you get for the equipment, it's still S tier. Like it is a little bit harder to get the hold of. You got to work with it a little bit, right? But man, it's so freaking good. Okay, and then the last equipment of the game, the Hog Puppet. Now, the Hog Puppet was nerfed, I think, pretty significantly, but the parts of it that were nerfed are not the most important aspects of the equipment, though. I think the health that you get is still more important than the level of the hogs, and I think the invisibility that you get is more important than the health of the hogs, right? The tankiness of the hogs is important, right, but not as important as those other two things. And because of that, I think I'm going to put it at B tier by itself. I think it's pretty good, but I don't think it's anything insane. Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty happy with this list. Maybe I should move some things down a little bit, but that seems like a pretty good list. Maybe you could argue the Rage Gem's A tier instead of S tier. It's kind of hard, right? The Rage Gem's so good right now. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what equipment should you upgrade? Now, it depends on which attack you're doing. If you're doing the Super Witches or doing any Fireball based, obviously the Fireball, getting that to level 27 is going to cut down on spells you need in order to pull things off. That's going to be your number one priority. After that, I would say the Earthquake Boots and the Spiky Ball. Those things are just, the combination's insane. And then after that, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. I would just go through the list of equipment after that, like the Magic Mirror, the Rocket Spear, just kind of leveling things up. But the most important things are going to be Fireball, Earthquake Boots, Spiky Ball. Get those 3 things leveled up for your Super Witch attacks, or really any kind of smash that involves the Fireball. If you're not doing a Fireball-based attack, I would still get the Earthquake Boots and the Spiky Ball leveled up. I think those are going to be the 2 things. That combination is absolutely busted right now. It's honestly way too good. And then after that, I would get the Magic Mirror and the Rocket Spear leveled up. So Earthquake Boots, Spiky Ball, make that your number one priority. After that, Magic Mirror, Rocket Spear. If you don't have a whole lot of starry ore and you do have a lot of glowy ore and other ore, and you need to kind of put off your epic equipment and worry about normal stuff, I would go make sure that your Rage Gem's maxed, obviously. Healer Puppet and Giant Arrow, Earthquake Boots, And then after that, it doesn't really matter. But those are going to be the 4 most important common equipments right now. The giant arrow is so good, especially with Hydra. Healer Puppet's so good, especially paired with the giant arrow and the magic mirror. Rage Gem's so good with the Warden for any kind of Warden charge or Warden walk, or with the Druids or Smash or anything like that. And then the Earthquake Boots, I think they're going to be the thing that replaces the giant gauntlet finally. So if you guys like this list, make sure you comment down below if you agree with me or disagree with me. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me, but this is based on the attacks that I really like to use. But make sure you subscribe, like, comment. I'm going to be making videos like this more often, and I really appreciate it. But we will see you guys next time.